I found a few
relation, the way a man
few things that I think are terrible, terrible, toxic advice. And yeah, they're coming from men. Two guys and one woman this time. The claims being made are so unhealthy, so very unhealthy. It's just mind blowing that, I mean, in a world full of 7.5 billion people, give or take, it's a little bit more than that, but you know what I mean. I get that people may think similarly, but a lot of people really don't understand themselves enough to know why what they're thinking is not as accurate as it might seem. The issue with the red pill people and the woke people alike is that they're really one and the same, but they don't see it. It's honestly, truly mind boggling to me that people try to sound like they're too masculine or too feminine or this or that, and then they become the Andrew Tates of the world. They become the general dregs of society of the world, who are really just angry at themselves or angry at the world in some way, shape, or form. But, well, Andrew Tate is just a trafficker. He is pretty much a monster, and that's just the reality of it. But when it comes to relationship advice, some of the stuff out here is just wild, people. It's just mind-blowingly wild, and I don't understand why anyone gets behind it. Because not only is it terrible, it's not basic psychology in any way. Most of it's repression, most of it's manipulation, and all the tactics that come along with those issues. So, without further ado, let's just dive into this absolute insanity that you're about to witness. Now, the second one isn't so bad in some ways, but we'll get into the real issues with that one. So, this one is short, so I won't really be interrupting.
The way a man becomes a loser in a relationship is he becomes overly feminized. One of the symptoms of being overly feminized is talking about emotions and getting emotionally upset. Now, it's okay to talk about positive emotions with the woman you're in love with. You're so beautiful. I love you so much. I missed you. You're my sweetheart. Oh, I'm so disappointed because I didn't get to see you. Oh my gosh, I care so much for you. These are all feelings, emotions, but they're positive. When women say they want feelings from men, they want positive feelings from men. That's what you want to do. Negative emotions is unmanly. That's how you destroy a relationship. By whining. By just think, anytime you complain, you're being a girl.
What?
It's gonna, and what happens is a little bit here and there to your buddies. Go talk to your guys about this. This is what guys do. We can complain to each other. But if you complain to a woman, you become feminized. She goes, oh, poor baby.
Wow.
Oh, and then she gets mad at you for complaining about her. So what a woman needs to feel more than anything is I can go up and down in my moods, and you'll stand there and you don't get affected by it.
There is everything wrong with this video that I'm just flabbergasted that this has 47,000 likes. That's 47,000 people you probably never want to meet, never want to date. And then everything else is probably AI bots. So, you know, at least 70% of those people you probably never want to meet, because the level of repression here is so high that that's what's going to kill the relationship. The idea that you become feminized by expressing emotions, by having complaints, by feeling anything really, is just so patently false. Like, I don't know where these people get this idea. Chances are someone told this guy at some point in his life, whoever he is, that men feeling emotions is wrong. You know, the whole boys don't cry bullshit that your parents try to teach you when you're growing up, which is just teaching you to repress yourself. They think it's teaching you to be tough. Well, that's not how you teach anyone to be tough. Toughness comes from making it through tough situations. Toughness comes not from not feeling pain, but from feeling pain. It's a tolerance buildup. And at a certain point, you're like, hey, I can handle these things because I've experienced them so many times before. But to call men feminized because they have complaints or they talk about negative emotions is just so unbelievably stupid. I have to wonder what all this guy himself is suppressing in his life. I don't even, you can't talk about that to your wife or your girlfriend. You can only talk about that with your buddies. So, translation, don't communicate with your wife or your girlfriend. Communication is bad. Communication makes you weak. Grr. This is like the worst of the worst when it comes to something that a man trying to give men advice could ever say. This right here is the epitome of what's wrong with the manosphere and all the red pill stupidity. Meanwhile, my shirt does state that I identify as a conspiracy theorist, but I also have a brain and I don't do echo chambers. So there's that. That's what separates me from the rest of the crowd out there. I just am completely taken aback by this because it's so completely unhealthy. Not just in the dating phase, but in a long-term relationship. And he says something at the end here. So what a woman needs to feel more than anything is I can go up and down in my moods and you'll stand there and you don't get affected by it. That goes both ways. Things happen in our lives as men and we get upset. We get hurt. We're allowed to feel that upset. We're allowed to feel that hurt. And never let anyone tell you otherwise, because anyone who is being manipulative. And not only are they being manipulative, they're gaslighting your feelings. They're telling you, oh, you can't feel that way and you shouldn't feel that way. You're teaching you to repress everything that you are. Now, should you learn to cope properly? Absolutely. Coping mechanisms are key. Journaling is number one. Journaling is number one when it comes to a coping mechanism. But maybe you have a hobby. Maybe you do martial arts. Maybe you go to the gym. Maybe you have other ways. You go for a walk in the park so you can get some fresh air, get some sunlight, and be out in nature for a little bit. So that way it'll bring you down. Or you have more time to work through whatever it is that you're feeling. But the idea that you should never talk about these things to a woman, with a woman, means one critical point. You lack vulnerability, and you will never have a successful relationship by bottling everything up. It will inevitably fail. And that is the truth. Let's go to this second video. This one, it's a double-edged sword. But the comment itself just seems suspect to me somehow. But let's watch.
You trust your partner completely, right? And then you find out something that completely destroys you. For 15 years, she didn't touch her partner's phone because she trusted him. And then one day, she asked to see her partner's phone as a joke. He wouldn't let her see it. And she was just joking. Of course, he has a right to privacy, right?
Yes, he does.
Well, that didn't sit too well with her, so she asked seriously. Well, I don't care what anybody says. I admire her courage. He still refused because he has a right to privacy, doesn't he? If you're in a relationship for 15 years, That's not privacy. That's secrecy. Well, after giving her heart and soul for 15 years, she then demanded to see the phone. And of course, that's none of her business, is it?
Nope.
Well, I disagree. What's on that phone is her business, because what was on that phone destroyed her life. I've been counseling individuals and couples for over 40 years. I believe in privacy, but I've never seen secrecy do anything worthwhile for a committed relationship or marriage. Your partner's not willing to share their phone with you. That's a big red flag.
So, like I said, this is a double-edged sword. No one is entitled to your anything in a relationship. You are entitled to privacy. It is not a red flag if someone refuses to let you go through their phone. Prime example, my cousin. He's a business owner. He runs a successful cigar lounge. He's built and sold multiple gyms. There are conversations in there that no one needs to see, frankly. Business conversations, text messages, and all those sorts of things that are not anyone's business. When you run a business, your partner is not in the business. So the partner doesn't need to see any text messages. Not only that, in this particular circumstance that's anecdotal, there isn't anything on the phone. Like, a lot of women see a message from a woman and then instant, you're cheating. And then that right there destroys all trust. That breaks the relationship. So there are situations that, like, no, you're not entitled to see whatever is on the phone. You know, it's out of respect for the people you're doing business with. Well, then you should just have two phones. Why? So you can waste more money? That's bad business. Now, 15 years, you would have thought at some point in there that this person would have already figured it out and left a long time ago. So, from my perspective, she saw the signs and chose to ignore them. Whatever signs that were there were absolutely there. They were ignored. And the funny part about this is, oh, well, I said it jokingly. No, you didn't. It was never meant as a joke. You just weren't upfront, and then you escalated. Now, this is also terribly anecdotal too, because A, there's no proof. B, the way the comment is written here, it seems very AI. Just the whole, what I found destroyed me. Like, that sounds like a YouTube title, frankly. This whole, oh, I asked seriously, then I demanded. Well, when you start demanding things, you don't get anything. So I find it hard to believe that she demanded, then he gave it to her, and then what she found destroyed her. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen. What I'm saying is, more often than not, if you're demanding anything of anyone, you ain't getting shit. Unless you're the president or you're in a high-ranking position of power. Yes, you are entitled to privacy. However, secrecy is a different story, and secrecy is a thing. But secrecy has signs. And limiting one of those signs just to not being able to see your partner's phone is minuscule to other things. You know, the real thing you have to look for is, are they acting differently? When are they acting differently? And then you need to confront those issues. For example, I was with a woman in California a very long time ago, and I noticed one day that things were starting to act different. And I was on the computer, and I heard her release this giggle that I'd never heard before. And my bullshit alarm started ringing, and I turned and I was like, what's so funny over there? And then that escalated into a whole bunch of other stuff. Long story short, I came back home to Texas, And then I can't remember how many months later it was, but I was asleep and got a text from her where she was saying that she cheated on me. But by that point, I had already figured it out. So it's stuff like that. Is there weird reactions going on? Are they lost in their phone and doing, all this giggly stuff? And, just does their demeanor change in some way? You'll know if you've been paying attention, if you've been vulnerable with your partner, if you've really gotten to know the person, if you've studied the person. I mean, if you're in a relationship with them, you should know their patterns. And when that pattern deviates, then you have to start ringing the alarm bells. And that's when you have open communication. Seeing the phone alone isn't going to tell you what you need to know. Paying attention, that will tell you what you need to know. So no, you're not entitled to go through someone's phone. It is not a red flag if someone does not let you go through their phone. Now, that can have a caveat to it. If someone wouldn't even let you use their phone to call someone, that's when you might have a problem on your hands. But this is why it's important to communicate and be upfront, folks. Anything else is unacceptable. Now for this last clip. Oh, dear God, why? Why does this have to exist?
So,
why does this have to exist? This is what's wrong with all you woke women out there. This video, and I've even done a little bit of digging, and even guys have made stupid ass videos about what you're about to see. Now, I may have to interrupt on this one, but everything that is in this video, I will just preface as Power Struggle 101.
It's funny about men. They fall in love when they're suffering. It is the most counterintuitive thing. And this is how you properly make him suffer. People get this so confused because they confuse the stuff at the beginning with love. It's not, it's lust. If you want a man to fall in love with you, you have to make him suffer.
Okay. False. If you purposely make someone suffer, you've already jumped to sociopath. If you think that making someone suffer is going to make them love you, you have a serious need for therapy. If anyone has the thought and intention of making me suffer to be with them, they can get the fuck out. It's really that simple. Now, her point about love and lust, that can be true at times. What you want to avoid is love bombing. Lust always happens up front. You're interested in each other. You find each other attractive physically, et cetera, et cetera. But to base an entire relationship or dating phase off of suffering, that's fucked up. I don't care who you are, but let's continue.
And it's not by being a bitch. No one wants to be with a bitch. It's by being difficult at the right moment.
No.
Men are wired to solve problems. That is the stuff that makes them fall. That is the stuff that makes them feel. You have to become the right kind of problem for him.
No. Absolutely not. This is manipulation. It's always going to be manipulation. It's avoidance. It's a lack of vulnerability. Men like to solve problems. Yeah, problems that we like or want to solve. This idea that you need to string a guy along, you need to be mysterious, and you do all this other things. And this goes for the other side too, that you need to do this stuff to women. No, that's not how anything works. That's just straight up being fucking malicious. It's emotional manipulation. It's a power struggle. And it's completely and utterly unnecessary.
Now, I've heard women say before, be difficult to get and easy to be with. No. It does not just stop there. Your difficulty needs to be attached to your absence. That is the healthiest way to stress a man out. That's the healthiest way to consistently give him a problem to solve. No.
What she's saying here is you need to ignore him. It's just like these stupid dating guys out here who say, oh, well, don't text back immediately. Guys, gals, text back. Don't play stupid games. Don't play stupid power struggles. Don't start off on a manipulative foot because nobody wins. Like, I just, the gall that this chick has, whoever she is. No, the healthiest way. So your difficulty needs to be attached to your absence, whatever. No. Your absence needs to have a reason for the absence, mainly being that you have other hobbies, you have things that you're doing. But that doesn't mean you just don't reply. You don't give one-liners. You don't do all that kind of stuff. That's not a problem to solve. That tells us that you are a problem. And it should tell a woman that the man is a problem until they have an actual discussion about what's going on. Why are you not communicating well? Have I said something that you dislike? All of these things matter. If you don't have open and honest communication, you don't have a relationship. Period.
Is the healthiest way to stress a man out. That's the healthiest way to consistently give him a problem to solve. When you are busy, living an amazing life, you're fulfilled, you barely have time for him.
Do you see that right there? You barely have time for him. Let's translate that. You're living your life and you're choosing to ignore him. Because that's what it actually is. That's all you're really doing. And vice versa. You're choosing to ignore her when you don't reply to that text immediately. It doesn't matter what you're doing. I repeat, it does not matter what you're doing. If you're at work, that's another story. But the general context of what I'm saying is you have the time to reply in a timely fashion. Not 2 days later, not 3 days later, because by that point, either the guy has moved on or he's figured out that you're not worth the time.
That is what stresses him out. You can't fake this shit because they can see right through it. When you actually are living your amazing life and you're barely making time to fit him in it, that's when he's afraid to lose you. That's when he suffers.
If you believe that relationships are built on being afraid to lose a partner rather than being a supportive partner with boundaries, you're a fool. You are a complete fool. This kind of stuff is so unhealthy. I want you to hear that again.
Your amazing life and you're barely making time to fit him in it. That's when he's afraid to lose you.
We are not afraid to lose you. In fact, we are quite happy to kick you out when you play these stupid power struggle games. This is emotional manipulation. There's nothing within this that is positive dating psychology or relationship psychology, and it never will be. A relationship should be built on vulnerability, open communication, shared interests, and certainly not fear. Who knew?
That's when he suffers. If you're dating, he should not know that he'll have another date with you. If you're in a relationship, he should worry that he could lose you at any moment because you don't need him. He needs you. And that's power.
She just admitted right there, the power struggle. It goes both ways. You could lose a man at any time for any reason, right? But then you'll go on TikTok and you'll play victim, or you'll play pretend relationship coach, or you'll play pretend dating advice. But what you're actually doing is teaching everyone all your little narcissistic and sociopathic tactics. And this is why you end up single and alone, and no one wants to talk to you other than the people in your echo chamber. This is liberalism. This is wokeism. Stupid ideologies that are based in a poor self-image. Abuse is never okay. At the start of a relationship, in the middle of one, at the end of one. And I've been on both sides of that, so I can say that very personally. Because no one is perfect. We've all made mistakes. I've been the abused. I've been the abuser. And that's how you grow, by not being perfect and understanding what you did wrong, by being vulnerable, by having communication skills, by having coping skills. All of those things combined are what lead to a healthy, sustainable, long-term relationship. Now, there are some comments down here. This woman right here. Even in my marriage, I don't need my husband, and he knows it, and he treats me like a goddess. It's not even manipulation. It is manipulation, and you're gaslighting yourself. It's not reality, because the shoe is on the other foot. Now, chances are you might have some weak dude, and he's not privy to the games. But no, you don't get treated like a goddess. You're probably projecting a whole bunch of crap here, but it is manipulation. Oh, nice, queen. None of you are queens. Making my own money is a huge one. Well, you should both be making your own money in some way, obviously. And leaving a sense of mystery. No, that's called omission. And omission is lying. Omission is manipulation. Therefore, we come back to the fact that it is manipulation. I sometimes politely tell him when a man hits on me, he's replaceable. Sounds gross, LOL, but I love him. No, you don't. And this poor abused man has probably given up. And I hope that he realizes that you are not worth anything. It's people like this that are the problem in dating and in the world. This is why it's so hard for people to communicate, to be honest with each other, to be open with each other. It's absolutely ridiculous. What's even more ridiculous is that people actually think that this is good advice. But again, we get back to the point of the echo chamber, and most of these women are, right there in the echo chamber. Healthy men don't fall in love through suffering. They fall in love through connection, clarity, respect, warmth, and awe. That is correct. The only person here with sanity, but everyone else is in an echo chamber. If you don't need to drive anyone crazy on a first date, good Lord, it gets worse. The rabbit hole just gets worse and worse. Ugh, God, why TikTok? Why? It blows my mind that people think that this is healthy in any way. All you're doing is making yourself suffer. And if you are a man and you notice that any of this kind of stuff is going on, just get out. Just go away. Get rid of her. It works both ways. And then they're going to go on TikTok and they're going to Darvo. They're going to reverse it all. And they're going to play victim. And they're only going to give one side, which is their side. And it's all anecdotal. It's all for attention. You don't really know what's what. So you can't really believe whatever you're hearing from these types of people out there. Why? Why do so many people have to pretend like they're experts? And that other guy, the second video, he has no credentials. 0 credentials. Think about that. If you go to his website, all it is a crappy click to have a one-on-one, click for coaching, blah, blah, blah. And then claims that he's been a business consultant for 40 years. No actual information. No, hey, this is my degree. I graduated from here. None of this stuff. But yeah, sure, I'm going to teach you to fix your relationships in this one-on-one call. No, you're not. And the other thing that you'll notice about these people is they don't have any reviews. All the reviews are fake. I worked for some of the biggest internet marketers out there. I worked for Billie Jean's Marketing. I worked for Dominate Web Media. I nearly became a speaker for Tony Robbins. Thank God I didn't. I've placed top in Grant Cardone's bullshit. Thank God I recognized what he was doing and got the hell away from him too, that crazy Scientologist bastard. But, point being, they all teach you to fake your reviews to a certain degree. And then they cherry pick, right? As a business of any kind, you should have both positive and negative reviews. No business is perfect, period. And review gating is another thing that they teach you, which is an FTC violation. So all of these supposed love and dating and relationship coaches who have no credentials, they have no psychology background or anything of the sort, they have no business out here doing these things, talking about these things, because the only thing they're giving you is a skewed perspective. They're telling you their own fucked up belief systems. And thank God they are, because then you know that you don't want to deal with those people. You don't need them in your life. So, yeah.